Greetings. So I'm not a Russian bot. Or am I? I've watched and read a load of posts and was inspired by the sheer diversity and reasons people have articulated. So I figured I'd throw my towel in as well. I'm done with the left and the Democratic Party. So if you're watching this and you now suddenly despise me, just consider I'm free to vote for whoever I want. That's democracy. And trying to ruin me for voting as the Constitution permits, well, that's tyranny. And in the end, I'm just disagreeing with you, man. But I won't be bullied or shamed into voting for a party that I consider hateful, benighted and corrupt. And here's the tale of what brought me to this decision. And please, just remember, not listening to each other is the real problem. Not taking a moment to absorb another person's opinion is what's letting this violence flourish. Anywho, as you could guess, I'm English, South East London. Pretty conservative, working class upbringing. Dad was a cop in the capital, mum was a caregiver in nursing homes. At college I decided to rebel against all that and took a decent sized step to the left and went all weird and subculture with metal and goth, which was a most grand time. I fell for an American. We wanted to be together. She was close to her folks in San Francisco. I wasn't particularly to mine. So after bouncing back and forth across the pond a few times, while there we decided to stay there. And I fell in love with this country. When I saw that people could get together, gather signatures, put something, anything on the ballot, and you got to vote on it, the people have a voice, this place rules, says I. So 5 years in highly liberal San Francisco, all trace of any conservatism just evaporated in the scorching California sun. My Scottish heritage took a while to get used to that one. Don't get me wrong, it was amazing. I could look however I wanted and not be yelled at or attacked in the street, as was the custom back home. Minorities and fringe folk were safe to walk the streets, land of the free indeed. My delight in being here in this country continued to grow. Actually, I think that's my core, freedom. To be who you want to be, to follow your own pursuits and dreams. So long as it's not messing up anyone else's fun, leave them alone. Two things I hate above all else, hypocrisy and bullies. And maybe that's because they mess with freedom, and why I'm so appalled at what the far left is doing with their trigger warnings, microaggressions, safe spaces, all whites are racist, all men are rapists, and of course 112 genders. If you don't agree with someone, fine. If you don't like someone, fine. If you hate someone, fine. But unless they are causing you actual harm, leave them the hell alone. You don't get to demolish someone or impose your whims on them just because you don't like what they stand for. Anyways, back to the tale. We got married and went for the green card. Had a few mates, all of whom were running the green card fake marriage thing, but they all ended up just continuing the relationship. And us, the legit applicants, we had a hell of a time getting it. Flawless background check, perfect health. Well, as best as you can get under the NHS. Healthcare is free, you get what you pay for. Here are some dots, maybe you'd like to join them. Had the in-laws sponsor me, which is a pretty hefty thing. If you and our daughter get divorced, we'll look after you. How many people are ready to sign up for that one? We got the lawyers, the lot. So I'm not exactly in favour of just handing them out or granting amnesty after how much effort and money and hassle we had getting one. But I got it. Moved up to Washington for the weather, if you can believe it, because they have it up here. And after spending another Christmas in shorts in front of an air conditioner, this desert stuff was just getting a little too much. We got a repoed house, all we could afford, worked my arse off renovating it, and a few years later we broke up. I went back to school, cut my hair, bought a suit, decided to getting a job in my new field would be an awful lot easier with citizenship, because employers were passing over mates of mine who were still on green cards. So I made my application, which was way easier than the green card. I almost failed it for knowing too much. Here's a question. Where does the president live? 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, says I. Wrong, the White House. Really, guys? But I got it in time just to cast my first ever vote for Obama. Then things started to get weird. Straight away, just saying, naughty Wall Street. And then they gave themselves all massive bonuses without bailout and he did nothing. Then I read that Snowden had held off on blabbing because he expected Obama to tone down the utterly illegal surveillance on all of us, and instead he ramped it up, and it kept going. So I was a tad miffed. Next time around, I went Bernie, and in the primaries, so did 72% of Washington voters. I was salivating at the prospect of seeing Trump versus Bernie in the debates. Hell with Game of Thrones, that would have been some awesome television. Bit new. Our glorious incumbent entrenched leaders decided to put their super PAC vote behind Hillary. We voted for you. 72% ain't no teeny margin, mate. But what do us peasants know? Let's just take the Democratic out of the Democratic Party, so everyone had to be with her. How many more elections are going to be ruled by the demand that you vote for the lesser of two evils? I mean, what sort of argument is that? Instead of voting out of fear, voting to stop someone else getting in office, how about voting for the person you actually want? Maybe it's just me. Also, watching people like Jason Chaffetz and Trey Gowdy confront various government institutions like the IRS, the FBI and the EPA, and they just get blown off by them. Can't even get some accountability, let alone someone fired or sent to jail for what they did to American citizens. And both of them seemingly burn out from this futile struggle to get something done against these jerks. Sad. Another final straw was when people sued the DNC and the judge ruled that they can merrily take our money and tell us anything in order to get it, but have no obligation to do or fulfill anything. You're kidding me. I found Hillary a slimy, bog-standard, corrupt politician, much like her husband. I mean, I never saw what the appeal was for that guy. I mean, he can play a saxophone. Ooh. Also, it's her turn. Didn't this country fight a rather well-documented rumble with the country of my birth over people getting to be in charge just because of their lineage and position? Then after seeing the Democratic Party cheat, sabotage, reporters feed lines, no way I'm supporting that obscenity. So even though I didn't vote for him, I George Carlin'd it and didn't vote for anyone, just on the measures. Washington's so blue I didn't feel my abstaining had an effect one way or another. So I was actually kind of chuffed when Trump won, because that's what you get when you tell people what they believe. I mean, I knew he was going to win, because I'd seen this before back home. It even has a name. It's called the shy Tory factor. Look it up on the wiki. So I was already on the verge of walking away. And then the utter hysteria ensued. It was mind-boggling. It suddenly seemed that the more you paint yourself as a victim, the more important you are, the more valid your beliefs. Gone is equality of opportunity. Now it's all about equality of outcome. And the more of a victim you are, the easier to shut down anyone else's speech. Freedom of speech, any speech, is a thing I love about this country. And now we're wary to say anything. I mean, people are afraid because of the repercussions that may ensue if we say the wrong thing, or if a snippet is taken out of context, a private conversation made public, or actions from decades ago suddenly brought to light. Say something considered outside the demanded PC norm, and now you are done. Your job, your life, your friends, everything you've built, all of it gone if you show up on the left's persecution radar. I mean, what the hell is that? Certainly not the America I signed up for. Then it started to happen to me personally. I saw that back home my beloved Tube was getting rid of "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the underground," and going with "Hello everyone," because it's more gender neutral. I thought it was just polite, and I made an innocuous entry on a news webpage comment section that will the Isle of Man now have to change its name to the Isle of Person. Within minutes, comments were appearing on my YouTube videos for rock climbing and vacations, even on my cats, calling me a homophobe, a transphobe and a bigot. I had to disable comments for a while because of one tiny smart-ass remark, and I was now a target. Apparently I'm not allowed to speak. Apparently I'm not allowed to disagree. Apparently I'm now the enemy, simply because I liked the old Tube greeting. I have mates, liberals, intelligent, free-thinking, non-violent people who are actively supporting Antifa. A masked, fanatic organisation is for the brutal suppression of free speech via force, who seem to support the rule of an unelected minority based on who is currently winner of Biggest Victim Cup. Who's the Nazi again? And it's not a particularly smart bunch either, because I saw during their Boston thing, they posted on their Facebook page a list of symbols to look out for on the alt-right and the white supremacists. There was the symbol for the Ferengi Alliance from Star Trek, and for Crass, an English punk band who are, drumroll, famously anti-fascist. I'm a snowboarder. I was in the queue for the lift and have an old Soviet-era army badge on my helmet. Some kid bellows in my face about, yeah, communism, fight the patriarchy, and chanted it over and over, not like it was a political theory he stood by or a societal system he opposed, but like he was in a cult. Communism works great on paper, as a theory, but every attempt to implement it has ended in disaster. It just doesn't work in the real world. So why is this kid lauding it so vehemently, and to a complete stranger in a crowded public place? I'd seen this kind of unhinged fanatic behaviour on YouTube videos, and just laughed, but here it was in my face, and suddenly it wasn't very funny at all. I very much enjoy watching a good debate or a speech, regardless of whether I agree with the stance or not. I just like dialogue, and I found my viewing habits branching off from the likes of Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, and moving into Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, Karen Strahan, Brett Weinstein, and Heather Heying. Liberals being assailed by the left for, well, making sense and telling the truth. Heather McDonald, and pretty much anyone Joe Rogan is talking pleasantly to. My New Year resolution was to quit the news, mostly the hysteria and panic mongering, the clickbait and outright lies. America will lose all power and be back in the Stone Age when the solar flare hits, slams into us tomorrow. Nothing, not even a light bulb flickered. Government shutdown imminent. Doom! Water, power, Wi-Fi all still on. Nothing. Also, I was just sick of the non-stop ranting about Trump. I get it, you don't like him. I mean, last time around, Republicans could never say a good thing about Obama, and everyone was, come on, give the guy a chance. And now we've swapped over, except that this isn't moaning, this is deranged vitriol. It's like they see some sort of James Bond cartoon mega-villain who will have tanks rolling over gay pride parades and airstrikes on abortion clinics in every state. They gave me this when I became a citizen, all starry-eyed and about to graduate in my mid-30s and start a new career. I read it. It's an amazing and inspirational document. It's not ambiguous in any way, and the way I see things going, well, they are utterly at odds with everything in here. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I see nothing about hate, persecution, intolerance, fear, exclusion, and shame. I don't know what I am. But left, Democrat, in these current grotesque manifestations, that ain't me. So I'm walking away. Toodles.